Please help me and get me just 100 subscribers. The music was soft, the lights warm, and the bride was glowing as she danced her first dance. I should have been enjoying myself, but my world came crashing down in the middle of that reception hall. I was sitting just a few feet away from my wife Mia, when I heard her lean toward her best friend and whisper, just loud enough for me to catch every word. "If I could do it again," she said with a bitter little laugh, "I wouldn't marry him." My heart stopped. For a second, I thought I'd misheard her. Surely she didn't mean me, her husband of 3 years, the man who had worked 2 jobs to help her through grad school, who had saved every penny for the house we now lived in. But when her friend covered her mouth and giggled, and Mia smirked like it was some kind of inside joke, I knew exactly what I'd heard. The room felt smaller all of a sudden. The music, the laughter, the clinking of glasses, all of it faded into the background. I sat there, frozen, my chest tight, my fists clenched under the table. I wanted to stand up and demand an explanation right there in front of everyone, but I didn't. Instead, I smiled politely, excused myself, and walked out into the cool night air. Under the string lights, I replayed those words again and again. Wouldn't marry him. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't harmless. It was a confession, maybe even a window into how she'd really felt all this time. When I finally walked back in, Mia was laughing with her friends like nothing had happened. She didn't even notice the storm brewing behind my eyes. For the rest of the evening, I kept my distance. I danced with her once, smiled for the photos, played the perfect husband, but inside, something had cracked. On the drive home, she hummed along with the radio while I gripped the wheel, silent. When we pulled into the driveway, she asked why I'd been so quiet. I looked at her and said evenly, "We'll talk when we get inside." Her face fell. She knew something was wrong. As soon as we walked through the door, Mia kicked off her heels and turned toward me, her brow furrowed. "What's wrong with you tonight?" I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. "At the wedding, I heard what you said to Claire." She froze, her face going pale. "What are you talking about?" "You said, if I could do it again, I wouldn't marry him." The words came out like shards of glass. Care to explain what that means? Mia opened her mouth, then closed it again. "It was just a joke," she said finally, but her voice was too quick, too defensive. "A joke?" I snapped, my anger breaking through. "You were sitting next to me, at a table full of people we know, and you tell your friend you regret marrying me, and I'm supposed to believe that's funny?" Her eyes welled with tears. "I didn't mean it like that. I was just venting." "Venting about what?" I demanded. "I work 60 hours a week, so we can have the life we do. I've been there for you through everything, Mia. And that's how you really feel." She sank onto the couch, her hands shaking. "I don't know," she whispered. "Lately I feel like I'm suffocating. Like I don't even recognize who I am anymore. I didn't mean to hurt you, but sometimes I wonder what my life would look like if I'd made different choices." Her words hit me like a punch. "So I'm one of those choices you regret?" Mia's tears spilled over. "I love you, I do. But sometimes I miss who I used to be before we got married. I miss feeling free." I stood there, staring at her, my heart pounding. This wasn't just about one careless comment. This was about everything simmering beneath the surface that she hadn't had the courage to say. For a long moment, the only sound was the clock ticking on the wall. Finally, I said quietly, "At least now I know where we stand." She reached for me, but I stepped back. "I need some space," I said, my voice hoarse. "I need to figure out what this means for us, and for me." Without another word, I grabbed my keys and walked out, leaving her crying on the couch. I drove aimlessly for over an hour, the night air blurring through the open window as my thoughts spun in circles. Her words echoed in my head like a curse. I wouldn't marry him. I kept asking myself if this was just a moment of doubt for her, or if she had been quietly resenting me all along. By the time I pulled into an empty parking lot, I knew I couldn't just sweep this under the rug. I texted Mia, letting her know I wouldn't be coming home that night. I needed to be away from her to think clearly. The next morning, I returned to the house, still raw but calmer. Mia was at the kitchen table, her eyes swollen from crying. "I thought you weren't coming back," she said softly. I sat across from her. "Mia, last night changed something for me. I can't live wondering if my own wife secretly regrets being with me. She wiped her cheeks. I don't regret you, she said. I regret losing myself. I've been trying to make everyone happy, you, your family, our friends, and I feel like somewhere in all of this, I disappeared. Her words were honest, and for the first time, I could see the fear behind her anger. I took a deep breath. Then let's stop pretending. If this marriage is going to survive, we have to face this head on. Counseling, hard conversations, whatever it takes, but we can't keep going like this. Mia nodded slowly, her fingers twisting together. I want to try, she whispered. I want to find myself again, but I don't want to lose you in the process. It wasn't an instant fix, but it was a start. Over the next weeks, we sat through therapy sessions, said things we'd been holding back for years, and started piecing ourselves back together. It was painful, messy, and uncomfortable. But for the first time, it felt real. Months later, I looked at Mia across the dinner table and saw something I hadn't seen in a long time. Hope. The road ahead was still long, but we were walking it together, this time with honesty. I realized that night at the wedding hadn't broken us. It had forced us to finally see each other, flaws and all. And that was the first step toward building something stronger.